Hello everyone on a beautiful Saturday morning here in the summer. We're going to show you how to replace the fuel pump in a 98 Ford Expedition. This should cover many models, F-150, Explorer. This is Chris over here. Chris, how many models have this same fuel pump in here?
Probably 96 to 2003.
Okay. And symptoms of this vehicle. So this is the wife's vehicle, and it leaks gas out of the fuel tank. So first off, the gauge is not right. You never know how much gas is in there. The gas tank is mounted in the rear, and so is the fuel pump mounted in the top of the gas tank. We're going to be pulling this gas tank down and taking the fuel pump out. We're going to put it on the lift. The fuel pump I ordered here on the internet. This is the mount, the sending unit, fuel pump, everything on here. So what's happening is probably the fuel pump is in the tank. It popped off the top when he looked at it. He said, you know, the O-ring is gone up top and the thing's kind of hanging out a little bit. So every time you put $20 of gas in, the wife says, well, it smells like gas, it's spilling out. And then again, you know, it'll say when you're parked on a hill, you're full, and when you start driving, it says you're empty. So we're gonna lift this thing up. First thing you gotta do is disconnect the battery. Always a good idea to disconnect the battery so you don't have any fires, especially when you're working with fuel. Take the battery terminals off, both of them, and we'll get this thing started, put it up on the lift, and we'll start taking the fuel pump tank down. All right, here's the fuel tank underneath. So
what we'll do is we'll disconnect the fill tube, then your vent tube. Take the straps down. Of course, you're going to need a hoist to
hold that thing.
Support the
Make
fuel
sure your
tank.
tank is empty. We tried running this thing out, but again, I have no idea how much is in here because the fuel gauge never works. So it says empty. It might still have a good 5-10 gallons of gas in it. Who knows? This right here is, you probably, now see, if you're in the driveway and you don't have something like this, I understand. But you got to make sure that you have the vehicle jacked up and blocked, you know, securely, and something should go under this tank. Now, I know everybody doesn't have a lift like this, but there are hydraulic floor jacks you could use with 2x4s on it, not to puncture the tank. Take the one strap off there. It helps to have the right tools.
Yeah, but the issue is my 13 shallow.
Well, make sure you just lower it slowly. Make sure you got all the lines disconnected. Here's one thing I just saw. If I could zoom in on that. I don't know if you can see that. That ring that holds that to the top of the tank is busted. It's cracked. And out comes the fuel tank. Watch the tire. All right, give us the synopsis of what's happening here, Chris.
So basically the lockdown ring for the pump itself is actually what split. And so you can see right here that's basically the green seal that seals the pump to the tank. And then the lock ring screws down and seals everything.
Alright, okay. And
so these are fuel lines. This is your power to your pump assembly.
What's this one here?
And these are vents.
And this one? Vent.
Vent.
Alright, so I gotta find, one thing I don't have is this ring. I thought the thing would be hanging out the top being that it's so unstable at knowing how much fuel you have, but that's probably why it's leaking when you put in more than $10-15 of gas. It's spilling right out the top. While you're here at this point, you might as well change that fuel filter being that it's right here. If you're up on a lift, even easier. If you're on the driveway, it's still gonna be easier to get that fuel filter out.
Yeah, that shit in your eye, boy. You want to talk about fucking.
Okay, here at Chris's Automotive here, we do shit the half-ass way. What, you want to tell us where you're going with this concoction? we cannot find the locking ring that goes on the top of that tank. We called everywhere. Now I'm in trouble because the thing's up on a lift. So Chris has an idea. And This isn't broke all the way, but it is split. So he's got some idea that we're going to get this thing together with some glue and it's never going to come off. And I have no idea what he's doing here. I've never seen anything like this before. You want to tell us what you're doing?
Gotta clean the surface.
That's a fancy can of brake cleaner right there is what that is. Wow, getting that in my eye. It says we got to use some of this stuff here. What is this? Rapid Fix. Dual adhesive system. Welding powder and adhesive.
Customer's car? No, you fucking...
Yeah, customer's car, you don't do that. For Eric's truck, we do that. I've never seen... Wow, this stuff stinks. I've never seen an adhesive like this before. You put some of that glue on there and then a little powder. Again, do yourself a favor and order this part when you do the fuel pump, because evidently I didn't think about that, but I couldn't find it. So it must be kind of hard to get, but the local shops don't stock it. And again, we're in trouble, so this has to be the strangest. Ooh. Is that already set?
It's already set. Right?
That stuff's already set.
Tough as nails right there, dude. See, look, it's already...
Wow.
Be good as new when we get done with this bad boy.
Is that only for plastic?
Yeah. You know, you get pull out of the dashes and stuff. But you get Florida heat kills all the plastic, so.
Look at this. Good as new, huh?
That's it.
Any warranty implied with that? That was a total of about 2 minutes. The whole thing is like plastic welded together. Local Ford didn't even have the part, so this is our only option. Okay, so pulling the fuel pump out. Make sure you don't drop that thing in the tank. Woo. Is that original, Chris?
Oh yeah.
That's original fuel pump, 1998. So again, because I was doing the top up here, he said, you know, if you're gonna do all this, just replace the fuel pump. The fuel pump was actually working. I don't know about the sending unit because it was all over the place on the gas gauge, but that's, there's inside the tank. It's actually really clean in there. You have to lubricate that O-ring at all?
Negative.
Negative, okay. Any special way of putting that fuel pump in?
Normally there's a, should be those alignment tabs.
So the float goes towards the front. That's how it came out.
It's gonna go in. It's gonna go in like that.
All right. What happens if you put it in backwards? Can't get the lines on, probably.
Well, yeah, you got that. And your float might not. When you're like that.
Yeah.
So like if you're sideways, it may hit the side of the tank.
Right.
And then you never know if you got it.
Make sure you put it in the right way. One thing I was unaware of is the pressure sending unit does not come on this new one, so you have to take that off the old pump, unless your pump does come with that. Mine does not. So Chris has that sensor over there, and that monitors the pressure in the tank. That's what it looks like right here. So that one had to come out of the old one. And it just kind of screws right in. Should that pump come with it, or is that a piece that's always extra?
Nah, normally most of the good pumps come with it.
That's what happens when you order cheap crap. And we'll see if this plastic welded ring is actually going to work. Make sure it's tight enough that the O-ring is squished and it's not leaking gas or fuel pressure. Boom. ready to go. That's it, just reverse process. Get all the lines back on, fix your hose clamps, replace any lines going from the tank that are deteriorated. And then you give her a good start, and here we go. And I know that it's working already because look at the fuel gauge. The fuel gauge actually shows just under a quarter of a tank, but when I drove it in there, before we put that on, it said it was empty. It had been empty for 2-3 days. That's what it said. I was trying to run out of gas so the fuel tank wasn't full of weight. So there you go, guys. Something maybe you learned a little bit. Maybe you want to just get the ambition to tackle this yourself. You can do this stuff yourself. You could do it with a friend. You could learn to do it. And hopefully you learned something. We got a lot more videos that we could show you on mechanics. And stay tuned. Thanks for watching.